Hello everyone. I'm Gold Miser. I'm just going to be giving a little server tour here to put in an application to Ambition Craft because although I love doing technical builds on this server, the activity on it has gone down recently, so I kind of want to be on a more active server with people that I can interact with instead of being lonely. So I guess yeah, we can just jump into it. So I've started here in my spawn chunks. This is a recent project that I actually went ahead and dug out all of these spawn chunks with the World Eater. Um, so I haven't even removed the World Eater yet because I just haven't had the time for it. You may see a few leaf blocks here. There's actually a witch hut in the spawn chunks, which I typically would be opposed to building a witch farm or any kind of farm in spawn chunks, but um, MSPT seems pretty good right now, so I wouldn't be opposed to adding, a lag efficient witch farm here, especially just to give myself a little bit of redstone dust, because I run out of that quickly. So yeah, so I guess I'll fly over to our kind of starter bases area, if I can get my orientation correct. Yeah, this is the right way. And yeah, so that was probably the biggest project, um, just solo project that I did. Overall, man hours probably spent about like 6 or 7 just building up the world eater. Probably another like 2 or 3 with the trenchers to the side, and of course the zombie raid spawns. Jesus, that is a lot of zombies. Um, but yeah, so I should probably sleep. Alright, so zombie raid's taken care of. Um, so yeah, this is our little starter island here. So, not really island, but our starter bases area. This is my little starter base. I just built this to just get a few chests organized so that I could start some larger projects. I have a little bit of a villager setup up here, just again, something starter, just so that I could get, a few books that I kind of need. And um, no real organization here, just what I needed. Obviously, armor, um, that kind of stuff. Um, I had a smelter right up here with I think 5 furnaces. Yeah. Um, and that was just again just to get started, just to get a little bit of glass that I got from sand or get some fuel in the source in the form of charcoal. You can see I had a little bit of a 2x2 spruce tree farm here. So uh, this I just kind of grow 4 2x2 spruce trees, and that's how I'd get wood. I had a little bit of a starter iron farm here. I don't think anyone's used any iron for a while. So this is just the typical peaceful iron farm. It doesn't require any, it's just 5 villagers gossiping throughout the day. This is my friend's starter base. He made a large castle as a starter base, and that's another friend's starter base. He also built this nether room for us. I figured it was probably best if we had one portal to share between the 3 of us because um, otherwise whoever was entering the portal in the nether would, go to someone else's base because of portal directing. So it's probably best if we shared a portal. So I'll just hop into the nether. Again, there's not much to see here. It's pretty boring, just starter stuff. So here we are in the nether. Obviously on the nether roof because that's just the best way to get around. So here we come to my first big project, which was the gold farm. So this is just a standard gold farm. I kind of whimsically, not whimsically, but I just designed it in creative and decided to build it up in survival. So it's just the typical um, turtle egg farm, or turtle eggs and agro-based farm. So there's I think 8 spawning layers or 9. Where zombie pigmen would spawn, they'd fall down the drop chute and then they'd be killed here. I can actually turn it on, although no zombie pigmen are spawn right now. So yeah, they would fall onto the trapdoors. The items would be pushed along these the ice stream, the ice path here, and picked up by the filters, and then all of the rotten flesh would be burned. I do have auto crafting enabled on this server, so it would take nuggets dropped from the pigmen and craft them into ingots, and then we would take those ingots and craft those into blocks, and the blocks are stored here. So we have more than enough gold. Don't need to run this farm for at all anymore. I did use the gold to fuel this dual core, dual thread. There's 4 pigmen in there. Um, just basically a bartering setup that we just run while um, AFK at the gold farm up there. So yeah, you'd throw in some gold blocks and they'd get crafted into ingots and spit out at the pigmen, and all of the drops would be filtered along this filter system here. So we kind of have the useful drops available to us. We didn't have any gravel or anything like that because that's kind of gets redundant. Even blackstone, it gets to a certain point where you have way too much of it, and it just becomes unnecessary. Obviously, I used some recently, but and then obsidian even. I have way too much obsidian. I should actually grab some pearls just um, for this tour. And yeah, so all of the stuff here is pretty useful, or not really easy to obtain otherwise, like crying obsidian. Obviously, kind of the only place for it. So I added this little switch system at the end. Basically, it just locks the ice block, which in turn locks the starter, the top hopper up here. Um, so that's if the light's on, that means it's being if the light's on, that means it's being farmed, and you can actually obtain it through this. And then obviously, if you turn the torch off, the light will turn off, but as well the hopper will be locked. So that's just a simple way, so we can just not overflow all of the chests and have it be a mess. So I thought that would be nice to add at the end. Over here is just kind of a bee area here just to get some honey. I think we have more than enough honey at this point. Um, and yeah, that was just again while we were AFKing at the um, gold farm. I decided we might as well get some honey as well because at the time I didn't have a very good source of slime. Um, sorry, I'm looking here for a boat because obsidian. I don't have one. I'll give me a moment. I'll get one. And yeah, so we just got some honey blocks while we were AFKing at the gold farm. Just again because I spent a lot of time here. A bot spent a lot of time here AFKing, so I thought it might be useful to get a little more resources during that AFK session. So we have the boat on blue ice here, just because I thought it's just the easiest and most efficient way of traveling in 116. The server's on 116.4, as you can tell in this up here. Um, so that's just because 116.5 wasn't really a necessary update in my opinion, and I was already on 116.4 and it had all of the mods that I needed, so I just figured might as well keep it 116.4 and not worry about 116.5. So the next project I'm going to is the slime farm. So this is just more of a starter slime farm because I don't really need um, a lot of slime. I mean, I needed some slime for obviously for the world eater, but I don't need a lot of it like overall because I don't have any big projects. So I just kind of went into chunk base and found a nice area with quite a few slime chunks. So I'll go into free cam here for a moment. So this particular area had many slime chunks, so I thought I might as well make a farm here. And turn that overlay off. And so yeah, I basically mined out all of the spawnable blocks of these glaciers in a certain radius, and then built up this little slime farm here. Um, Mob switch is active right now, as you might have been able to tell. 200, it's a triple mob cap right now because I haven't put in the time to get any more. But just because I don't have a very good villager breeder. It's a zombie villager based one. So yeah, no mobs are going to spawn here or in the nether. I have one there as well. Obviously not the end because you can't chunk load the end, which I think is a mistake, but hopefully that'll get fixed in 117. So yeah, this is just a few spawning layers, and then the slimes are attracted by the golems in the middle, and then they actually get attracted by a third golem here, so they get flushed into the portal faster. And um, yeah, so that way the mob cap's free. I mean, this does not run nearly at mob cap. If there's one player AFK, it's like 16 mobs or something. But over time, if you AFK overnight, it's plenty of slime for us, or for me really, because I'm the technical player on the server. Um, so yeah, I had a few snowmen here just as because I knew this was a snowy area and not much happens here, so they wouldn't get hurt by any mobs or any rain. So I decided to put some snowmen here for some snow blocks and snowballs that I needed later. Um, Obviously, it's not zombie pigman proof, but uh, it's difficult to do that with turtle eggs and all that, so I decided against it. So the collection system's down here. So this is, again, triple mob cap in the nether as well. So this is the kind of slime area I have. I just built a cube of snow in the middle of this, in the nether here, and then all of the slime is collected from here. They're rushed in, they come out of the portal here. They're killed by the soul campfires, which do more damage than regular campfires, and all of their drops are funneled to these two droppers, and they kind of cascade down this magma here, and all of the slime blocks end up in this system. There's a crafting system back here. It's kind of a mess. I kind of added it last minute, but um, it crafts all the slime blocks into slime balls into slime blocks. And if you caught the little fire here, that's for I actually had an issue within the first hour of AFKing, as I mentioned zombie pigments earlier. A zombie pigment spawned in this portal on the other side, on the slime farm side, and its drops got into the crafting system here and completely broke it beyond repair as far as time AFKing. So I decided to add this little filter here that destroys the zombie pigment drops. Um, so yeah, that's pretty much the slime farm. That's one of my more recent projects as well. Um, but uh, yeah, I decided I needed it, so I figured I might as well make it. Getting out of here is still a little bit of a pain, but I've kind of gotten the hang of it, so I think that seems good. I have another carrot. I guess I'll fly because I accidentally used a rocket there. There are a few stray Endermen because they don't count towards the mob cap because they're holding blocks, but it's kind of negligible at this point, so I kind of leave them. If I see a few of them in a group, I'll kill them, but it's not really necessary. So I'm not going to go over everything here because I have a lot of projects that I've done on this server, but and a few of them have kind of flopped, so I'm not going to go over those, although I will mention them. But I'm heading over to my kind of base area, which is just where I have a few farms. I don't really like the whole concept of having a base, but everyone else was doing it, so I thought I'd kind of participate. And so I spent a little more time than I probably should have on this base here, but I do have a gunpowder farm up there, sugarcane farm, obviously. I have a 4 times 48 furnace array. I think it's 3 stacks at a time. So that's just extremely quick. And get all of the smooth quartz here was farmed from the piglins, and then smelted in this furnace array. I'll sleep so that we get rid of the rain. Um, and yeah, I actually built this in a ocean monument, which was a good idea in theory until I realized that guardians spawn in this kelp farm, guardians spawn in the collection system for the creeper farm. They spawn in this water in these bubble elevators here. They spawn everywhere, so it became more of a hassle than something useful. But at least I did get materials for a lot of sea lanterns. Um, so I'll go over here to this little thing that I made. This kind of gives you a nice overview of the base from further away, if I can remember how to use it. So if I just go ahead and throw a pearl like that, it takes a while because I thought it might be fun to add but eventually we'll get sucked to the top there and teleported. Um, I'm not turning around because yeah, there we are. So you just go to the top of this iceberg here. And so yeah, this is the base. I decided to go for like a rocket. Obviously the fins aren't big enough, but I wanted to go for like a rocket, but instead of fire, it might spit out ice. And then eventually I was going to cover this entire ocean floor here with ice, but someone else built something over there, so that kind of ruined the whole aesthetic of that idea. But yeah, this is a nice overview of the base. I can kind of fly forward. So I've got a tree farm that I actually used a tutorial for. I don't like using tutorials because I like making stuff on my own, but I've never been very good at tree farms and they haven't returned enough saplings. And I just thought, why spend, 10 plus hours designing a tree farm that's, you know, old old tech compared to what someone like Ilmango can make or already has made. So I just used that. I did design this little mini cobblestone farm here. I did not need much cobblestone at all. So this is just, I think, like 6 cobblestone high or 5 or something. But yeah, it just um, pushes all of the pistons push forward at the same time using this um, wall technique that I wanted to use. So this block is pushed down, and then all of these walls are updated at the same time um, because of a change of state. And then it's actually hooked up to the same TNT duper just with a simple OR gate there, and all of the drops go to the same place. I don't have a main storage system for this yet because obviously that requires a lot of work, but it's also incredibly laggy with hoppers. And this place already bumps MS from like 8 to 15. So, and when the tree farm's running, it goes up to like 30. So I didn't want to like create too much lag for other members of the server because I'm the only one on right now. Um, so yeah, but there's a little iron farm here as well if I didn't mention that. Um, that's another one that I designed off as a tutorial, but I use this one all the time. It's just the simple 1 zombie, 4 village setup kind of thing, and then obviously an auto crafting setup in the middle. Um, this is how you get up to the base. And so yeah, I designed this, I didn't design this, I used a tutorial for this multi-item filter system just because I wanted to try it out, but overall I'm not really satisfied with it. Like, it works to an extent, but you still get a few blocks in here that you don't really want. It could just be me building it wrong, but I mean, at the same time, I don't really want to um, use the system anymore just because it seems a little bit unreliable. But then I have this bulk storage over here, so blue ice, slime blocks, honey blocks, glass, redstone, iron, that kind of stuff. Just stuff I have a lot of. Obviously, it would just destroy this multi-item filter system, so I decided to just put its own bulk storage. These are still unset filters here, so um, I have leaves as well. I haven't put those in yet, but these are a few unset filters, so I can do whatever I want with those. This is my project boxes. So you can see here's some materials or what would be used for part of the world eater. So you've got a little bit of stuff for TNT dupers, and that's a filter item. But yeah, so this is kind of the viewing area up here. So this weird thing in the middle here is actually just to kill guardians when they spawned in these towers. They'd kind of spawn, and then I'd hope that they would fall into the lava eventually, and then their drops would be burned as well, just to decrease lag. Um, but I guess I didn't really show the view from up here. It's not anything particularly special. It's just, um, the ocean landscape. I did use white stained glass because it made the view, the rocket look better from the outside, but you can't see as well. You can't see as well outside anyway. You will see that everything here is spawn proofed. That's a big consideration of mine. I actually have some string here too, just to prevent snow layers. So everything up here is spawn proofed. Even the fins here have pressure plates on them, just because I don't really want anything spawning up here at all. So I figured might as well prevent it, and that's kind of the case with all of my builds. I try to prevent mob spawning on them as much as I can. So this is all actually slabs. Is this possible to spawn here? I'm not sure what the light level is. I guess okay, light level protects it, but yeah, I try to keep everything as spawn proof as possible. So we just go down. So yeah, obviously this is all lit up properly, and other than Guardians, it's pretty much spawn proof down here. And this is a little villager setup if you're curious. Just a little breeder so that I could get a few villagers for the iron farm, as well as get some for some other projects down that I'll show later. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much it for this base here. I designed the furnace area myself and the kelp farm, I guess, myself too. It's kind of a funny story. Um, this kelp farm broke a lot because I would unload the flying machine because I was too lazy to, or I forgot to turn it off when I left. So kelp would kind of form sources up here, and the whole thing would break. So when I had to, I destroyed all of the kelp, and then you'll see that I guess I have to be in not in free cam to show it, but when I placed it again, I used the F3 menu, and I actually made sure that every single kelp plant I placed was age 16 or higher, so that it couldn't grow and form water sources up here, which I actually think one did. Oh my gosh, of course. One kelp plant was the wrong age. The whole thing broke. Oh well, I don't have to fix the whole thing, at least. But yeah, it did overflow. Um, but that's okay, I can do that. It doesn't take very long, especially because I have the ice for it. Um, and that's just the main thing for this. But yeah, so I guess I can move on to other projects now. So go back through the portal here, and get my boat out. And there's nothing past this point really. These are a few other bases, so of other people. They all kind of went in the same general direction, but there happens to be a mesa and a desert close by to the frozen slash cold ocean biome that I was in, so they kind of jumped to those. So here's, I guess I can show the next project here. Sorry for the frame ratiness. I'm not used to running OBS, so um, but it's just for recording. But this is the next project. You can probably tell what it is through this um, decoration outside the portal here. But it's a gravity block duper, which I use basically to get a lot of glass and white concrete, but I don't really use white concrete. It was mostly just for glass and sand that I'd smelt at my super smelter. So it was a little bit, here, I'll just pearl up. It was a little bit difficult to get in, but I did build a little nice system over on the other side. Just, it was more temporary than permanent, but I just dug out a nice chunk of end stone here and made a system to store it. Nothing here is Joker box stored because I haven't put in the time to just go out and explore end cities for that. And not really a huge fan of duping them, but it might come to that at some point just because they are there's not really another way to obtain them without just drastically increasing your world file size. So I kind of decided against that. But yeah, so the entities are detected with a string here, and then they're broken with this trapdoor, and then the items are flushed into this water stream, and they go up here, aligned against the honey, and flow across. If there's any extra, they'll go into a cactus, but the rest of them are filtered through, and you can kind of get an idea of what's filtered out along this color coordinated here. I didn't put too much. I could have probably put another row of concrete here just to make it a little more clear, but that would have run into the glowstone, and then everything wouldn't be spawn proof from Enderman. So I decided against that. But yeah, you can tell here there is no mob switch, so we are getting mob spawning. But again, that's because you can't chunk load the end. So more recent project that I've done is I actually beat the Ender Dragon by myself 20 times, or 19 more, because we beat it once together. I think I just aggroed an Enderman. Two Endermen. Anyhow, but yeah, so now I'm working on digging out the pillars. So you can see that goes down to void. Is there some obsidian down there? No, it's just void. And then I actually was able to, let's go on free cam again, dig out a lot of the pillars. So most of the big ones are done, and just a few ones, the small ones remain. This is a solo project, but kind of like a cheaped out solo project. Um, I spawned in a bunch of bots and gave them pickaxes and just had them mine through. Um, I was 9 bots at a time because I think there's a max of 10 on the server, just because I wanted to keep it a little bit smaller. But yeah, that's why there's a haste beacon here, and yeah. I haven't gone through any of these gateway portals except for the one that we got from the first time, because I want to hopefully save one or two for villager setups, and because I've never experimented with gateway portal like force generation and stuff like that, so I kind of want to learn about that. Um, and so yeah, all of these are blocked up with obsidian because I want to be able to at least use a few of them. This one has a little bit of something below it because I accidentally flew into it um, while I was still fighting the ender dragons, so I should still do some research to see if it's actually loaded gateway return gateway portal on the other side there, because if that's the case, I can't use that for the villager setup. So yeah, I had down here is a little wither setup, so I just spawn in a few withers here at a time, and then kill them because I'm a little bit too lazy to actually fight the wither, and I don't really see a purpose of doing so. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much the end. We actually got really lucky, and one of the close there's a end city like basically directly next to that gateway, where that gateway leads to. So I saved the shulker there for 117 shulker mob switches because those are far superior to the zombie villager ones. So I guess that's where we can head next. I'm gonna spawn back at my base, aren't I? But it's nighttime, so I'll sleep. But we can head to the mob switch next, which is probably the biggest project that I've worked on just in terms of hours AFK. Because I'm not very good with villager breeders, and I've used kind of the same one for about 2 years now. And I experimented a little bit with trying to get a better one, but I decided to just stick with the one that I knew because I wanted to get the project done because I wanted to have a mob switch active. So probably should have put a little more time into it, but I haven't. So I put the mob switch far, far away because obviously it causes the most lag on the server. So right now we're at 15 ms. Oh, I went way too fast. Um, and that's obviously for chunk loading and stuff like that, and unloading. And it's also the nether, which is typically a little bit laggier with all of the endermen around. Um, but yeah, I would have used piston bolts here because those are more practical now. When I think about it, they're just harder to build, especially early game. But and yeah, as my frames drop to like 20 over here. Um, but yeah, at least these are spawn proofed and they're easy to build. So this is the mob switch. So this is the nether side of the mob switch. I'm not gonna fly because I could end up several 100,000 blocks, not 100,000, but several thousand blocks away if I do so. Um, but yeah, you might be able to start hearing the zombies. So I have room for a total of 10 chambers of 70 zombies each. But yeah, this is a mob cap that I designed. So basically, there's just chambers of 70 zombies on the chunk border of this chunk loading portal there. So I can either push the zombies into or out of loaded chunks, and they will either count towards the mob cap or won't count towards the mob cap. So this is another one. Obviously, we're at 210. I can flick them, you know, all out so we can have full mob spawning, or I can keep them all in, which is typical, just so that we have no mob spawning. So a little bit here. I try not to use a lot of redstone dust on this server, but for something like this, I figured we're basically never here, so and it doesn't pulse, which is the real lag causer. So I decided against it. But um, yeah, basically, I would just take the zombies and that would funnel them in here. I had a little system here that detects them with string and then pushes them into area with the vine here so they don't take entity cramming damage, which also helps a little bit with lag because they don't do collision checks, but it's mostly for the entity cramming. The value is still at the default value of 24. I like to keep all vanilla features that way if I can. Um, But yeah, so it would detect if they fall in, and then it would push them into this 1 by 1 cell, and then as soon as I have 70 in there, which I can just easily check with the F3 menu, like this, so I can see 70 entities on my screen, 140, and then 210. But and that number's right here for, ooh, didn't click T, for those of you who don't know, this entity number right here. And I can go ahead and turn chunk borders off, but yeah, so that's pretty much the nether side of the mob switch. Um, Temporary ice setup here. Didn't spawn proof it because these mobs are always loaded, so I saw no need to spawn proof some temporary scaffolding there. I tried to do a little decorative work. I'm not very good, but the honey and obsidian and blue ice kind of seem to lend itself as a nice palette to me. So this is the chunk loader, just a simple one. I think I got it from Il Mango, but I pretty much designed like 90% of it on my own, and I just wanted to see if anyone else had better ideas. And then I just used this one because it was like over tick warp. It was more reliable than the one that I designed after like several hundred hours, so it's not really that big of a deal. But I'll hop into this portal here. Um, and this is the overworld side of the mob switch. Again, some temporary scaffolding just so zombies don't appear where I don't want them, but it's kind of the same story here. So you've got the zombies in their 1x1 cells on chunk borders. So I can push them into or out of floated chunks. And then the portal over here kind of determines where those zombies are held. This is the villager breeder that I was talking about earlier. I have just a kind of what I showed you earlier at my base. I have essentially 2 of those, and it produces a lot of villagers, but not nearly enough to what I need. So I'd bring over some emeralds. I have some gold, so I could get some gold, some emeralds here, and then get bread, and then throw it to these guys. I didn't really want to make this fully automatic because I saw really no reason to. This is where I'm here like so rarely, and I'm not going to make this into a villager farm or like a trading setup or anything over here, just because these zombies cause so much lag and bad frames that I just figured no need. But yeah, the villager would pop up here. I'd trade with him once, push the button, he would get sent over here. His pathfinding would take him over here away from the zombie, but in reality he can't go there, so the zombie would kill him. And then the zombie villager would then be attracted to the turtle egg and fall over into this water stream and go to the open cell as far away as that may be, just through these water streams. And then if it was another one, if I needed to put it into the nether, I just light this portal, and then I just kind of keep them in the nether until I would kind of manually go over there and bring them all into their cell. So that's pretty much it for the mob cap. And that kind of concludes the server tour, if I'm not really forgetting anything. I kind of went fast because I wanted to kind of get a lot in a short amount of time, because it just gets really boring to watch, you know, more explanation on some stuff that you've probably seen before. But I'm relatively proud of all of the projects I've done here. There's a few ice paths that I'm not showing you. That one just goes to a jungle for one of my friend's bases there. But yeah, the mobcap's probably my favorite project, followed by probably what I'm going to do in the end, because I want to make a concrete factory in the end. I've always wanted to do that, but I thought I might as well try it on this server. And I guess I'll head back to the spawn chunks to conclude the tour. So thank you for watching the server tour. If you stayed the whole time, if you didn't, that's fine too. But I just wanted to kind of show you guys around and show you what I've been up to, what kind of player I am, and what I like to do on servers. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. Bye-bye.